Hello and welcome to Primal Impulse's BDSM 101 Part 1 class. There is a disclaimer here that some of this will deal with safety and consent and fake DOMs, so if you feel like you need to step away at any time, please do so. So, safety in BDSM. Now that you may be interested in the BDSM world or already had interest, it's time to remind you of the importance of being safe and sane. Safety is a crucial aspect of any BDSM dynamic, as it encompasses physical, emotional, and psychological well-being, mental well-being as well. Like safety is about reducing the risks and harms associated with engaging in different activities, such as impact play, bondage. Again, I'm doing the cross on my hands for that, but also bondage, you're stuck. I'm trying to make sure that people on the camera can see it. Other forms of power exchange. What we do is inherently dangerous, and you should take your well-being very seriously, absolutely seriously, because the only person that will look out for you is you at the end of the day. Once you find a partner that is matching you on all levels, they will also look out for you, but at the end of the day, it starts with you. Physical safety includes taking measures to prevent physical injuries, such as using safe words, checking equipment and tools for wear and tear, and establishing clear boundaries and limitations. For example, a dominant may need to learn how to properly use a flogger or a whip to avoid causing potential harm to the submissive. Emotional and psychological safety involves creating a space where both partners can feel secure and trust each other. Communication is critical in creating this type of safety. The submissive may need to feel safe enough to express their desires, limits, and concerns, while the dominant needs to ensure that their actions do not cause harm to the submissive's emotional or psychological well-being. So, as a sadist, there is a difference here. I like to hurt people. That's okay. I like to hurt people consensually. I do not do harm. Harm is long-term and permanent damage. The thing I do before every single dynamic is I'll put my flag in the ground and I'll say, and I actually say this to people, I will not do any intentional harm to you during our dynamic. That is my promise to them, because it is not my intention to damage this person. It's my intention to hurt them in a fun way, but not damage them. Now, scarification, permanent tattoos, that's a whole different story. That's consensual, but I'm talking about physical, emotional, or mental long-term damage. Okay? People that do engage in harm are a lot of fake DOMs, and people that are abusive, people that try to fake being a dominant in order to get what they want or control somebody in a manipulative way. Those people, I will go over how to spot them in a little bit. It is important to note that safety extends beyond the confines of a scene. Before engaging in any BDSM activities, it is essential to discuss things like health status, testing, if you're going to go down the sex route, which is not required, and boundaries around what is and isn't acceptable behavior. It is also important to establish boundaries around how much time is spent in a scene and to ensure both partners have adequate time for self-care and recovery afterwards. Aftercare. We'll go over that later. Overall, safety is a critical aspect of a BDSM dynamic, and partners need to prioritize it in order to have a positive and healthy experience. I think we'd all agree on that. We all want to have a positive experience through this. Negative experiences tend to turn people off, and they leave the scene and they're gone. And there's no way to really bring them back and show them that this is something that's good, because it's in their mind that it's bad. And that's part of the reason I'm here, is to show that there is a lot of positives that can come out of this. So, any questions on safety? Because we're going to be going into vetting next. Yes. Chia. Nice shark, by the way. E.T. Okay, so while she is asking the question, I can give a quick little reason why safety is important. There are oftentimes when you're playing, there are times when you can have someone in cuffs or have someone in ropes, and it can cut off their circulation. So you need to be able to know when that's a problem and how to get out of it. So you need to learn how to be safe. So don't do rope unless you know how to use the shears to get people out of it, for example, right? Start with the basics. Start with like ribbon instead and work your way to rope. Vetting is the process of carefully evaluating a potential BDSM partner before engaging in any type of power exchange or scene. This process is important for several reasons. Safety. BDSM can involve intense activities that require a high level of trust and communication. Vetting helps ensure that a potential partner is trustworthy, respectful of boundaries, and experienced enough to engage in these activities safely. Compatibility. BDSM dynamics are highly individualized, and what works for one person or couple may not work for another. Vetting can also help both parties determine if they share similar kinks, roles, or expectations in a BDSM relationship. You don't want to be in a room where someone wants to be a play partner and someone wants to be a lifetime total power exchange. Not going to work. You need to make sure that everything is matching up so there's no hurt feelings at the end of the day. Consent. Informed consent is a cornerstone of BDSM, and vetting can help ensure that all parties involved fully understand the activities they will be engaging in and are willing to consent to them. Avoiding drama. The big D word. Vetting can help identify potential red flags or incompatibilities early on and can prevent drama, misunderstandings, or conflicts from arising down the line. Vetting itself is used when you're meeting someone new. It's very important to do this a bit thoroughly because you don't want to get surprised later. What you don't know now will come back and hurt you later. So it's always weird, as an example for me, to sit down and say, okay, and I start doing a little bit of negotiation and a little bit of vetting beforehand. It sounds like I'm rushing into something. It really is just seeing if we have synergy or that it's something that we could look at down the line, because there's a lot of things that you can get through the vetting process that will just say, okay, this isn't somebody that I want to be acting with in that way. And so it saves a lot of work down the line. So if someone is sort of asking questions like that, you can just straight up ask, are you vetting? Yes. Oh, okay, cool. Like that's awesome. Thank you for having the consideration to do so. Vetting can involve various steps, such as talking to the person about their experiences and boundaries, discussing expectations and limits, and checking references and backgrounds. We will also include meeting in public places in order to get to know each other better. That is in quotes, that is in bold, that is underlined. The goal of vetting is to ensure that both parties are on the same page regarding their interests, desires, and boundaries, and that they have shared understanding of what they want to get out of the dynamic. By taking the time to properly vet a potential partner, individuals can reduce the risk of emotional or physical harm. Remember what I said earlier, harm is something that you should never try to do, and create a safe and enjoyable experience for both parties. Let's talk about meeting in public places for a second. Just like you usually wouldn't meet someone at your house for the first date, it's important to do the same here. In fact, many people feel a vanilla meetup in a public place of kinky people is the perfect place to do this, as there are people around to help spot red flags and make sure people are up to snuff in the lifestyle and within the community. Predators like to hide, and being in a munch takes a lot of that cover away, especially if they are a known consent violator. If someone is a consent violator, then that means they blew through someone's boundaries, didn't stop, and kept doing something that someone was uncomfortable with. That's when you get the consent violator tag on you and everyone knows. So that's why having a community like this is very important for vetting, because you can spot these people and share a ban list. So predators like to hide. It's important to ask around about someone to see if if they have a negative impression. Note that not all negative impressions are deserved, or fairly deserved, might I add, but it is a good start to make sure you are being safe. There are some out there, myself included, that think a good place to play for the first time is at a dedicated play space for your safety and being around other people and DMs who are dungeon monitors. I used to be a DM at my old dungeon. That's where I was before I came online, and they will watch out for your consent and well-being. Yes, I know you may not feel comfortable playing in front of others, but it is a very big benefit, especially if you're new to the scene. Another option would be to play in front of people you trust in a small group, such as at a house of someone you know, or a small play party of trustworthy people. Now, these are people that you've met, that you know you're not going to be put in danger with. You vet those people before you vet this person. Make sense? So, how do you vet? First and foremost, research. Do your own research about this person. This can involve asking for references from other people in the community or searching online for any red flags or warning signs. Communication. Communicate openly and honestly with this person you're considering playing with. Discuss your boundaries, interests, and expectations. Pay attention to how this person responds and whether the communication is respectful and clear. People with something to hide tend to get testy during this step. because they don't want to put in the time and they're impatient. If someone is showing that they're impatient, probably not the best person to play with because they may get impatient with you. Meet in a public place. As I mentioned, arrange to meet in a place in public, such as a coffee shop or a restaurant or a munch. This can help you get to know them better in a safe and neutral environment. Ask questions. Ask questions of the person about their experience in BDSM, their interests, and their boundaries. You can also ask about their previous partners and experience to get a better sense of how they approach their dynamics. Take your time. Now, a lot of people, when they first get into BDSM, experience something called frenzy, newbie frenzy. They want to go in and do everything all at once. Take your time. Take the time you need to feel comfortable with a person and make sure that you are both on the same page before rushing forward. You aren't on a clock. Do not feel rushed into anything. If someone is trying to coerce you into something that you are not comfortable with, say no. So, what are some of those red flags I mentioned? AKA, how to spot a fake Dom 101. So, and again, there are submissives who do the same thing, but it's a lot more common for dominants to be manipulative and try to get in with you before they then try to control you and or abuse you. Again, I'm sorry for using blunt terms here. The disclaimer was there for a reason. If you need to step away, I understand. So here's the part where this could get a little dicey. Number 1, refuse to provide personal information. A person who is unwilling to share basic personal information, such as their real name or contact information, may be hiding something. Something I do in person. The first thing I do, here's my driver's license. You can take a picture of it if you want. That's me. I'm not here to mess around. I'm here to show you that I am someone that is interested in doing something with you. Lack of respect. That's number 2, lack of respect. Someone who doesn't treat you with respect during the vetting process probably won't respect your boundaries during play. Number 3, lack of experience or knowledge. Of course, some people have to start somewhere, but someone who claims to be an expert in BDSM but doesn't demonstrate a good understanding of safety protocols, communication, or consent is likely not someone you want to engage with. I spotted someone like that recently. Not recently, it was 4 or 5 years ago, before COVID. They were saying they were a master. They were trained under someone for 7 years, blah, blah, blah. And they had absolutely no knowledge of anything. You want to make sure someone's not a predator. So I'm not saying you have to background check everybody, but if you get a feeling, probably want to trust your instincts. So, lack of transparency. Number 4. If someone is unwilling to answer questions or share information about themselves or their BDSM experience, it could be a red flag that they're not being truthful or trustworthy. Number 5, pressure to meet or play immediately. Remember what I said about being coerced. A potential partner who is pushing you to meet or play before you feel comfortable and have had adequate time to vet is a red flag. Someone who ignores your boundaries. Number 6, if a potential partner ignores your boundaries during the vetting process, it's a clear indication that they will not respect them during a scene. Number 7, inconsistent or vague communication. Communication is key in this lifestyle, guys and girls, and everyone in between. And if a potential partner is vague or inconsistent with their communication, it may be a sign that they're not taking the dynamic seriously. Number 8, refusal to provide references. If a partner is unwilling to provide references or refuse to be referenced, probably not a good sign. They probably have a lot of baggage there that they don't want you to know or realize. Probably some consent violations, maybe, who knows. Number 9, a past history of abuse or misconduct. It's important to do some research and check to see if there are any allegations of past abuse or misconduct involving a potential partner. You can ask around or you can ask them. Do you have any consent violations against you? Yes or no? Someone could say, yes, I have a consent violation. Here's the evidence to dispute it. Okay, do your research. Okay, this looks legit. This is from the person. Okay, cool. You're fine. Right? Or ask around. Say, hey, Taku, this person wants to play with me. What do you think? I'm like, I'll run them against the ban list and I'll say, this person's banned for this, this, and this. Disrespecting your current dynamic. Number 10, if someone is trying to convince you to leave your current dynamic or relationship without any consideration of your feelings, it could be a red flag. They're not going to be respectful of your boundaries and healthy relationship dynamics. Abusers like to isolate people. That's what they do. They like to take people and make them alone so they can manipulate them. Number 11, and here's the last one. Obviously, this isn't an exhaustive list, but it's just some examples. Lack of empathy. Someone who showed little empathy or concern for your well-being, both physical and emotionally, could be a red flag that they're not safe or caring partner. Now, does anyone have any other red flags that they have experienced? Newbie predators are most common IMO, yes. People that are brand new to the scene and just want sex, so they try to bullshit their way into something. And knowing how to spot it is the best defense.
Also, look out for if they're belittling themselves too.
Yeah.
Sympathy.
Yeah, they're trying to get the pity party going, right? Also look out for psychopaths. Yeah, I've had one or two. Vague, inconsistent, illegible communication is a problem that you have a lot on FET. Yeah, that is absolutely the case. People who flock to newbies and try to dazzle them into play. Yes, absolutely. I'll cover both of those actually. First, we'll go to Chia. People that go to your newbies and rely on the NEWBIE FRENZY, and they'll just try to dazzle you and say, hey, let's play, blah, blah, blah. And then you play and something goes wrong and they drop you and they're gone. Like, hey, I got what I wanted. Just be careful. And also, and something that I'm going to cover in a future episode of this thing is how to be careful on FetLife. FetLife is both really good and really bad. The reason it's good is because it brings communities together. It gives you a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge and a lot of research, and it allows you to share more about yourself. The problem is that you have these fake DOMs. 90% of the people that message you on FetLife are just like, hey, want to have sex? Want to be my submissive? Want to, it's horrible. Can you send me nude pics? It's gross. So something that I recommend is if you do sign up for FetLife, do not be scared to buy it, but go onto FetLife and actually go into your settings and set it to only friends can message you. Chaperones for newbies are great. Yes, I actually agree. If, when you're doing this vetting, invite a friend along. Ask their opinion. It's a great point. I didn't have that down in my notes. You're absolutely right. It was more covering that in the munch, but yeah, absolutely. If you're not going to a munch, double date. Bring somebody. A real person who has nothing to hide that wants to be with you is going to have no problem with you having a second opinion. Absolutely no problem. Okay? Remember that. And you also remember something, everybody. You are worth the time, okay? If you make someone wait, they'll stick around if they're legit, okay? You don't have to be going fast all the time. You can slow down and say, hey, let's make sure that you're legit. Let's make sure that this is real. I want more than just being a play partner. I want to move on to something maybe pet or be your submissive or be your dominant. If it's going to work, it's going to work no matter what the time scale is. Okay. I know for a fact that there was one situation that I was in where it took 6 months to get there, and that was fine. It was so much better when we got there. Okay. The vetting process is important to ensure that you're engaging in BDSM activities with partners who are safe, respectful, and trustworthy. If you encounter any red flags during the vetting process, it's important to trust your instincts and take the time to find a partner who is a good fit for you. Boastful DOMs, I am amazing. That's another red flag. I have been trained for 7 years with this person. I've had 17 submissives. They all love me. Okay, what are their names? What are their phone numbers? Does everyone get that? It's like, oh yeah, okay, I have all of this experience, or oh, I'm the best you'll ever have. If they're the best you'll ever have, they won't have to say it. Makes sense? Real DOMs know their worth. They don't have to say it out loud. Here is a list of questions to ask a prospective dominant partner. Are you looking for multiple partners or one? What is the frequency in which you'd like to meet or see each other? How do you define respect, and what do you consider your submissive showing you respect? In general, what are areas of my life and self do you generally prefer to have rules or ownership over? This absolutely will help you get a gauge on what kind of relationship they want. Is there anything on my current fetish list that you are interested or not very interested in? Your overall goal is to try to suss out if they're consent violators or like fake or what have you. You want to find those red flags. So another question could be, what's your experience overall? What have you done? How many people have you been with, right? What is your expectation of where you want to see yourself in 5 years in kink? One of the questions I have is, what is your journey? Are you happy with your kink journey so far? What could have been done differently? What has worked well for you? If they start spouting nonsense, I know they're not in the scene, right? And again, I understand there's a lot of newbies, and there's a lot of newbies here too, but it's about making sure that they have their head in the right place. I was going to do a little bit of a workshop, Spock the Fake Dom. So, Minnie, will you come up here, please? FYI, Minnie previously agreed to this. Okay, so I'm going to be a fake Dom, and I'm going to try my best to throw a lot of red flags.
How many years have you been in kink?
I've been in kink for 15 years.
Oh, did you play at any dungeons?
Yeah, I played on some stuff that was overseas. Yeah.
Overseas?
Uh-huh.
Oh, what are the names of those dungeons?
You wouldn't have heard of them. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I probably would. I do have some overseas friends, actually, that play with this, and I'm pretty sure they would like to know the dungeon and see if they would want to go too.
Yes. It closed down due to COVID. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Do you like public displays of affection? Is that something you like?
I mean, yeah, but back on the topic, did you have any?
Okay.
Do you know any people that were there?
Awesome. Do you see how Minnie is not letting that go? That is important. You want to get that out of them, because like I'm trying to get around it by saying, oh, it's closed due to COVID, blah blah blah. So is it okay if I come over tomorrow and we can hang out and see where things go? Maybe play a little bit.
I actually have a group of friends where we have like a kind of meet up with coffee. We can do that instead.
I don't know. I'm really anxious to play. I got a lot of frustration to work out, and you seem to be the kind of person that I'm really dig on. So, you sure you don't want to come over tomorrow and like hang out?
I appreciate the offer, but I would like to go get coffee first.
Awesome. Refusing to go somewhere alone with somebody when they first meet them. Thank you. Let's see. So we'll do one more. Are you currently involved with anybody?
Yeah, but it's not anything of BDSM, but I still like to get their consent with things.
That's fine. I honestly think, though, that you should dump them and hang out with me exclusively. I think that you and I should go monogamous. Let's do that.
No, I'm polyamorous. It's part of me. I'm not sacrificing that for anybody.
There you go. That's someone who is trying to disrespect the current dynamic. Thank you. Thank you, me.
Yes.
What kind of answers would be considered red flags? Basically, what I was doing in that RP is I was basically saying, like I was brushing all the things off, refusing to provide references. I wasn't giving dungeon names or references of people. I was trying to go through boundaries and do all that stuff. Those are answers that are not okay. Those are all red flags.